Namaskar. I am Dr. Aarti Chaudhary, Assistant Professor in the Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology at Vasant Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Banaras Hindu University. Welcome back in the journey of Iron Age culture. Today we are going to discuss Module 4, Lecture 2. The title of Module 4 is Iron Age culture and title of today's lecture is Origin and Development of Iron. Let's see the first learning objective of this topic, which is to know the origin of iron, means the journey of iron. Second is to discuss on the sources related to iron metal and metallurgy. And third one is the development of iron, just to understand the development of iron. In this lecture, we are going to discuss these subtopics, which is origin of iron in global perspective, early uses of iron in the context of India, the chronology of literary sources which gives information regarding the iron, as well as the archaeological sources. If we are talking about the origin of iron in global perspective, then the use of iron in ancient history is closely linked to both cosmic and geological processes. Iron primarily formed through stellar nucleosynthesis and in massive stars was introduced to Earth through supernova explosions and enriched the early solar system. Let's start origin of iron in global perspective. The use of iron in ancient history is closely linked to both cosmic and geological processes. Iron, primarily formed through stellar nucleosynthesis in massive star, was introduced to Earth through supernova explosions, then enriched the early solar system. As Earth formed approximately 4.5 billion years ago, iron became a dominant element in its core and crust, playing a crucial role in the planet's magnetic field and geological evolution. The earliest human use of iron predate smelting technology with evidence of meteoritic iron artifacts dating back to around 3200 BCE in Mesopotamia and Egypt. Systematic iron smelting, however, began around 1200 BCE in Anatolia, modern day Turkey, marking the transition from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age. The Hittites are credited with developing early iron metallurgy, which then spread across the Mediterranean, Europe, and Asia, revolutionizing tools, weaponry, and infrastructure. Now, early use of iron in the context of India. At first, we see the prehistoric period. Yes, we don't have any direct archaeological tool or weapon from that period, but the essence of iron and iron ore is present in the different activity which was done by the prehistoric man, like natural pigmentation from iron ore. Iron ore was ground to create colors for ancient rock paintings in India. Techniques and colors. Hydrated iron oxide was used to produce ochre and red shades. Burning the ore resulted in colors like yellow, rust, brown, and orange. So, in the terms of color, the iron were used by the ancient people. Examples like Bhimbetka rock painting, located in Resin district, Madhya Pradesh, Raisen district, Madhya Pradesh. The painting showcased the use of iron-based pigments for vibrant hues. Bronze Age, if we see the example of Bronze Age, use of copper ores with iron content. Like Indus Valley metallurgists utilized copper ore, chalcopyrite, with naturally contained iron. Advanced metallurgical technique enabled the separation of iron from copper ore. The archaeological findings, few fragments of lolling-nite, a mineral containing arsenic and iron, were discovered from Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Ferruginous lumps, potential iron trace, have been identified in the Indus region. Sites with early iron evidence: Baluchistan, Mundigak, Chanhudaro, Lothal, and Rangpur exhibit sign of early iron usage. We will see the artifacts which is reported from these sites in our upcoming slides. If we are going to the Chalcolithic period, then the first site is Ahar, which is also called Ahar culture. This is related to the Chalcolithic culture situated in Rajasthan, this site. Slag from Ahar contains 43 to 48% iron oxide, mostly in the form of iron silicate. Copper artifacts from Ahar contain 1 to 6% iron, likely due to slag inclusions. Phase 1B and 1C of Chalcolithic Ahar present the iron artifacts possibly dated 1300 BCE according to Shahi and Sankalia. These examples are very important in terms to trace the early use of iron in Indian context. Ahar culture evidence is also very important to trace the early use of iron. Next slide is Pandu Raja Dhebi and the Bengal Bihar region. The Chalcolithic culture of Pandu Raja Dhebi spanned 1380 to 855 BCE. High-grade copper and iron ore deposits were discovered in West Bengal and Bihar. Marks the emergence of the Iron Age. 1050 and 950 BCE in eastern India. Chattopadhyay termed this phase Ferro-Chalcolithic, indicating the coexistence of copper and iron metallurgy together. Iron appears in the later Chalcolithic phase of Chirand, suggests a gradual replacement of copper tool with iron tool. Marks the transition of the early Iron Age in eastern India. Now, scholars' view on the findings of these iron material. According to D.K. Chakravarti, he stated that there was no logic basis to connect the beginning of iron in India with any diffusion from the west, from Iran or beyond, and that India was a separate and possibly independent center of manufacture of early iron, and that the post-Chalcolithic iron bearing level of central India like Nagda, Prakash, Dangawada, etc. should be considered the earliest iron bearing level in India. Just like B. Prakash and Vibha Tripathi, they suggested that the iron first appeared in India between the 14th and 13th BC, and by 1000 BC it was in use all over the subcontinent. These views are very important in terms to understand the origin of iron. Now, introduction to the origin of the Iron Age in India. Bronze Age to Iron Age. We know the Harappans used bronze, they also used copper, and later period, iron was dominating tool metal in the Indian subcontinent. Yes, it can happen in the process of bronze making or extraction of copper from the copper ore, the iron was introduced. We can assume that these are the artifacts which mention that the copper artifacts is here, but the iron content is also present in these artifacts and tool. just like a copper bronze bell with an iron clapper found from Mundigak, period is 2600 to 2100 BC. Second one is a fragment of a copper bronze rod with two iron buttons affixed to it, same site, and the date is same. Third one is an iron button affixed to a copper bronze mirror with same site and the date is same. Two distinctive lumps of carbonate of iron, which is also found from Mundigab, period is 2600 to 2100 BC. 24 indistinct ferrous lumps, hammer stone. It is found from Sed Kala Tepe. Date is 2700 to 2300 BC. And a nodal of magnetite. Site is Deh Morasi Ghundai, contemporary to Mundigab, that is found from the different site, which is important examples for the iron findings. Different theories regarding the origin of the Iron Age in India. First one is external origin theory. According to R.E.M. Wheeler, iron technology arrived with the Achaemenid expansion in the 5th century BCE. Now comes to the indigenous theory. Independent development, which support the independent development of iron metal. Archaeological site Malhar, Rajanal Kattila, Bhagwanpura. Iron used before 1000 BCE. Iron ore deposit. The rich deposit sources is present in Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Karnataka. Tribal iron working traditions are also present in India. Till now, they are working in pre-industrial smelting techniques. The tribals are regularly practicing the iron metallurgy like Agaria tribes. Chronology of Iron Age in India. Northern India and Gangetic Plains. In northern India and Gangetic Plains, painted grey ware culture and northern black polished ware culture is very important to understand the expansion of Iron Age culture in Gangetic Plains. And Deccan in South India, which is basically related to the megalithic culture and black and red ware culture. Now come to the literary sources. What kind of information is saved in literary sources in terms to know the development of iron? The Rigveda mentioned the term ayas, which is sometimes translated as iron, may refers to a generic term for metal. Taittiriya Samhita of Krishna Yajurveda, which is also called Black Yajurveda, Syama, and the Maitrayani Samhita, Syamam, and Syamanyas mention the term which means black metal and black ayas. The term ayas occurs once in the Samaveda in the context of a wedge or club. Atharvaveda repeatedly mention the word ayas but mention Syamayo as a black metal, specifically a knife of a dark metal. Syamina Asina is also mentioned in Atharvaveda. Dhamanath occurs in Atharvaveda, which is translated as forging process. Shatapat Brahman makes reference regarding iron in the context of ritual performed during horse sacrifices. Reference to quenching can be seen in the Kashi Bharadwaj Sutta of Suttanipat. For as a plowshare that has got hot during the day when thrown into the water, splashes, hisses, and smokes in volume, even so. Patanjali uses the term ayas in the context of iron, while Manusmriti also mention in terms of iron. Mahabharata refers to Krishna Ayas, but the general meaning of Ayas seems to be iron. Ayas in the sense of iron is also mentioned in Ramayana. Arthashastra mentioned the term Kalayas thrice in the context of iron, while the term Tikshna and Tikshna Dhatu refers to iron ore. Arthashastra mentions the term Kalayash thrice in the context of iron, while the term Tikshna and Tikshna Dhatu refer to iron ore. Jain canonical literature mention Ayo as iron. The Milind Panho on the 1st century AD denotes iron by Ayo, but it also mentions Kala Loham and Kala Yas. Later texts like Varamihir Brihat Samhita, dated 5th or 6th century AD, and Rasratna Samuchay, 1300 AD to 1550 AD, approximately, gives insight regarding the metallurgical details of iron. Account of Ararian mention about import of Indian steel to the Abyssinian port. Periplus of the Erythraean Sea records Sideros indicos Kai Stomoma or Indian iron and steel, which indicates that iron used to be shipped from the inland part of Arak or the Gulf of Cambay. Herodotus wrote that Indian in the Persian army were equipped with cave arrows tipped with iron, and many much arrowheads were found in contemporary sites of Ujjain and Kausambi. In Tamil Sangam literature, the word irimpu was commonly used for iron, theru irumpu for processed iron, and urukku for metalled or forged iron. So we have lots of example related to Ayas in different texts which is belongings to ancient India. Now we are moving towards the archaeological sources. From northern and central India, the main important sites are Malahar from Uttar Pradesh, produced the date 1800 BCE to 1000 BCE. Earliest iron tools such as sickle, arrowheads and chisel reported from there. From Ataranji Kheda, Uttar Pradesh, 1300 BCE to 800 BCE, iron axes, spearheads and knives are associated with the painted graveware culture. From Iran, 1000 BCE to 600 BCE, larger quantities of iron weapon, chisel, sickle and agricultural tools have been reported. Now from the southern India, Mailidampari, which is the site from Tamil Nadu, the date is 2172 BCE. The oldest iron artifacts includes weapons and domestic tools. Adi Channalur, Tamil Nadu, produced the date 1000 to 600 BCE, iron swords, dagger and arrowheads from megalith burials, as well as from Hallur, Karnataka, date is 1000 BCE, iron plough, axes and knives showing its role in agriculture. If we are going to check the iron ores, then iron ore used in ancient metallurgy were primarily hematite and magnetite. Vindhya and Chota Nagpur plateau has rich deposit of iron ore that supplied ancient iron production. The Salem and Tamil Nadu region is the source of high quality iron ore used for wood steel. Bastar region in Chhattisgarh and high trade iron ore deposit used by ancient tribes and later civilization. Slags from the different states from India, Bihar and Jharkhand is quite appropriate for that. Chirand, Singhbhum and Dhalbhumgarh date produces 1200 BCE to 600 BCE. Large slag deposits indicates extensive iron working. From Aran, date is 1000 BCE, huge slag heaps near furnace providing large-scale iron production. Salem in Tamil Nadu, date is 500 BCE to 300 CE, slag remains associated with wood steel production, and from the Bastar region, 1000 BCE to 500 CE, continuous iron production is evident by layered slag deposits. And if we are talking about the iron technology or metallurgy, furnaces are very important. Early iron smelting furnaces were used to extract metal from ore. These furnaces were typically shaft or bowl shaped with evidence of controlled heating. From Malhar, early smelting furnaces with terraces, clay pipes for airflow is recorded. From Rajghat and Jhusi, 1000 BCE pit furnace with remains of molten iron and slag have been reported. From Payampalli, Tamil Nadu, 1000 BCE date, furnace structure showing early iron smelting techniques from this site. Kodumanla from Tamil Nadu produced the date 500 BCE, advanced wood steel production furnace indicating early high carbon steel manufacturing activity in this area. So, after seeing the literary sources, archaeological sources, and technological equipment like furnaces and slag, we can say that the Iron Age in ancient India emerged from the later Chalcolithic period with significant evidence found in archaeological sites like Ahar and Chirand. By approximately 1200 BCE, the widespread use of iron tools transformed agriculture, warfare, and settlement expansion in profound ways. Influential cultures, including the painted grey ware, northern black polished ware, and megalithic tradition, played a pivotal role in embracing this revolutionary technology, and this remarkable advancement not only fueled urbanization and state formation but also set the stage for the rise of powerful empires that would shape the course of history. These are the references which will be useful for your enhancement of the knowledge regarding this particular topic. Thank you for your patient listening. We will meet soon in the next lecture. Namaskar.